Where my pen at? Hey y'all. Hey. Sorry I'm late. I was debating if I wanted to come on at all, but I said I was going to do this every day. So I'm on here. I appreciate y'all jumping on. I don't have any like particular topic lined up for y'all tonight. I just thought I'd come on here live and raw, and you know we can chat, we can talk, and y'all can ask questions if you all have any questions. It's gonna be real informal today. Just conversate with y'all, shoot the breeze. So let me know, what y'all want to talk about. I appreciate everybody for joining and dropping the green hearts on their way in. I am starting a brand new series on my YouTube channel, which is going to be called Vlogmas, for anybody interested in information on starting their business. So I'm just writing down topic ideas for that. How y'all doing? How are y'all doing on this? Is it Saturday? Saturday night. Let me open up my drink. I got my La Croix. I love it. I'm not going to be live too long tonight. Just wanted to pop in and say hey. So quiet. Starbucks lover, hey. Y'all let me know. I'm going to just be here for a few more minutes. Otherwise, I'm going to record some videos. What you want me to talk about tonight?
Alright.
Hey. We good. Let's kick it. How y'all doing tonight? I'm just here. I said I was gonna come live, so just checking in to see how y'all doing tonight. I was gonna open it up to Q&A. I don't have any particular topics, but just wanted to chat with you all. If you all had any questions, let me know. I'm debating on if I should do it tomorrow, so I might not do it tomorrow. Let me know. Hey. All right. So if y'all don't have any particular topics, let me see what I want to talk about. I wanted to do Q&A. I didn't plan on a topic tonight. But is there anybody interested in like starting your own business? Anybody interested in like what y'all interested in? Anybody know anybody currently in the military? Let's talk about that. Hey, Kathleen. I'm just here. Oh, okay, that's cool. What business are you planning on starting? That's kind of cool. So that's for my new series. I'm starting a new series on my channel, which is Vlogmas. So make sure you tune in today. I know you will, because you always, check out my stuff. But tune into that because I am going to be giving tips on Business, starting a business, a t-shirt business. Okay, that's cool. Restaurant, that's like big time. I can't give you no tips on opening a restaurant. That's big time. Anybody interested in starting their own YouTube channel? That's a good one. Starting your own YouTube channel. I'm also into buying houses and renovating and selling back. That is a money maker, flipping houses. That's kind of cool too. Hi, Desire. Kathleen said we already have 2 designs. That's awesome. So for people just not joining in, sorry I'm late. I was debating on if I wanted to come on tonight, but I said I was going to do this every night. I don't know if I want to do it tomorrow just because I wanted it to be kind of chill on the weekends. I didn't want to necessarily come with tips and topics on the weekend. I wanted to be more free, more Q&A for you all. So if anybody have any questions, that was my goal tonight, was to do a Q&A. But I was talking about if anybody has any questions about starting a business, because I am doing a business series on my channel. And then if anybody's interested in starting a YouTube channel, I can help you out with that. Hey, Cameo Life. Kathleen said we have too many goals. We were in a long distance relationship and just came to America in October when I was in AIT. So we will be finally coming together for good next week. That's awesome. I'm happy for y'all. So just so you know, because I know you kind of been in the military before, but I feel like for people who are married to like a spouse and the spouse is not like any military, and especially for your spouse, they coming from another country, they don't always, they don't always understand what military life is like for the service member. And sometimes it's hard for them to cope and deal with things that go on. So just like, I would say for somebody that is married to a civilian, just make sure you kind of talk to them and I'm trying to think of the right words. Like talk to them, explain what's going on, and that like, you know, how rigorous and how demanding the military life could be. And people say, oh, I got it, I understand. But it's a difference when you actually live in it and doing it. So sometimes it could take a toll on people. And if they're not mentally prepared, if they feel like they're overwhelmed, they don't know what they're getting themselves into. And like for you, you said you're going to Fort Drum. I don't know anybody up there in Fort Drum personally, but Fort Drum is one of those places that's like secluded. I would say like it's not a lot going on. It's not a lot around. It's very cold. So it's going to be like complete opposite from what he is used to. And a lot of times people have a hard time dealing with that, a hard time coping with it. And, you know, it could cause tension and stress is all I'm trying to say. So then that's just with any military relationship regularly anyway. And then when you have a person that's like not from here or just the first time experiencing all of that stuff, that can happen. And I see that all the time. This goes for anybody. I see that all the time with military relationships, and especially, hey, Danique, especially military relationships when you have the other person that's a civilian and the military is new for them. You know, it's already hard for the service member to adjust. This brings me into a topic. So that's why I always tell people ask me questions about like joining with kids and joining with a spouse, and like, should they bring their spouse? Should they leave their spouse? Stuff like that. Hey, we're Apple. I always say, for number one, I feel like, this is just me personally, I feel like, especially if you're younger, I feel like you should live on post first. If you're new to the military, you have some, you know, prior knowledge of what the military is like. But for people like fresh, say you 18, 20, and you just got married, you new to the military, you new to your job and learning what military life is like in your job, and then you bring in a whole family with kids along with you, I tell people to live on post so that you can learn what military life is like first. You can learn what your job is like first. You can learn what it is like to come to and from work and to and from PT, because those are things that help shape your military experience. So if you're first time in the military and you live 30, 45 minutes away, and you got to be at PT formation at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then you got a wife and kids that's going to schools in all different directions and work. It can be stressful and it can be hard on you. So if you live on base, you already, you know, let's say max 20 minutes from the PT ground where you got to meet in the morning, and then your kids can more than likely go to school on base. Your wife doesn't have to work on base, but it's just everything is more centralized for that person that's just coming into the military and just getting used to military life. So I always tell people to live on base, live very, very close to the base when everything is new for you. If you're bringing your family, go ahead and bring your family, because they need to get acquainted with military life as well. But sometimes some people choose to leave their family back so that they can, you know, get housing first or get integrated into the unit first. That's an option as well. It just depends on you and your particular situation and what works best for you. Rebecca Benoit, hello. She said, any tips on self-motivation between hubs, overseas training, holiday madness, and just 2020? Girl, I feel like I'm slacking on getting myself motivated to work on my own goals. That is a very, very good question. So I am very, very big on motivation and self-motivation. I'm big on writing things down and planning. And we coming into 2021. So 2021 is a clean slate. Don't listen to them people that be like, oh, you don't have to wait till New Year's to start a New Year's resolution. You should be doing New Year's stuff every day. No, 2020 is a clean slate. Why not use it to your advantage? So I would tell you to start today writing down like 5 goals, 5 attainable, achievable goals that you can meet, you know, in the next year maybe, and devise a plan on meeting those goals. Start small. That's the biggest thing, is start small. So I always use this as an example. I want to learn how to run 2 miles to pass my PT test. I can't run at all. So day one, like devise a 12-week plan on, and by week 12, you're going to run 2 miles. So week 1, start small, start slow. Maybe you do a light jog for 10, 15 minutes. Maybe you go 3 or 4 blocks, and then every week build on it and add on it. Because once you achieve that small goal the first week, it's going to motivate you to get to the next goal the second week. But if you start like week 1, I'm going to run 2 miles today, and then you only go out there and run a half a mile, you're going to be like, I can't do this. Like, you know what I mean? I can't do it. I'm going to just give up. So start slow. Start with 5 attainable goals, things that you want to do to motivate you to work on yourself, whether it's save money, whether it's learn how to work out better, you know, and get your fitness better, whether it's to clear up your acne. That was one of my goals for 2020, is to have a bedtime routine. I have devised a bedtime routine, like a face routine, and I'm seeing results from it. But I started slow. It took me a whole year to get consistent with my nighttime face routine. But now every night is something that I always do. Some nights I slack off, but it's, you know, when I do it like 2 or 3 nights in a row, I'm like, let me get to that 4th night. You know what I mean? So start slow and devise a plan. But that's a very, very good question. DM Gamble said, my first unit was off post, second one on post. When I had the kid, and third post back off post. When I lived off base, I was always live less than 10 minutes away. That right there is the truth. Like, I live in the DMV area. Do y'all know what that means? That means DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And the traffic is horrendous. Like, it takes you 45 minutes to go anywhere. I went to a Chick-fil-A today. It took me like 30 minutes to get to Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is like less than 5 miles from my house, but you got to go on the highway. So what that means for me is, I said I wanted to live somewhere very, very close to base. And it's not even my first or second or third duty station. But I've learned over the years that living close to base is, number one, is going to cost you more. It's going to cost you more because everybody want to live close to base. Nobody wants to commute. But I feel like it's worth the money, because when you live close, you get this, you want them extra minutes in the morning, especially if you do organized PT. I don't do organized PT. We do PT like once a week, every 2 weeks. But there's some units that is out there every single morning at 05 or 06. And if I live 45 minutes away, do you know what time I have to get up to be at PT? No, I need my sleep. I need my sleep. At the end of the day, when I'm tired, I'm ready to get home, I don't feel like sitting in traffic for 45 minutes. So please, 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 all I can say is live as close as your pockets can get you to base or outside the base. I wouldn't necessarily tell people if it's a second, third, fourth, fifth year or fifth duty station to live on base. Depending, it's nothing wrong with living on base, but the quality of housing usually on base is not as good and it's usually smaller. But if you want that sleep, if you want less stress of bills, then by all means live on base. Rebecca said, ooh, just slacking on motivating myself to get on my goals. Girl, do it. Get you a what's those things, those goal boards, those vision boards, and refer back to it. Like, I made a vision board and I got a lot of stuff, and most of the stuff that I have on my vision board, I'm meeting all of my goals. But that's because I put the effort and the energy into it. Denise said, I'm going into the Army in January 2021. Congrats, girl. Congrats to you. What is your MOS going to be? If you can let us know. What is your job going to be in the military? And when did you go to MEPS? And how was your MEPS experience? So true. Tell my babies that. Explorer Perry, hey. Explorer Perry said, I moved to DC because I got in trouble. Uh-oh. That's not good. What happened? So Rebecca said, thank you for the motivational tips. I will hopefully be enlisting when Hubs gets back from training and got goals such as exercise. You can do it, girl. I'm telling you, you can do it. So is your husband in the military now, or is he in training in the military? And if he is, what is his job? And then what is your job going to be, or what are you interested in when you join the military? So let's talk about jobs. While I'm asking people what their jobs are, let's talk a little bit about jobs, because that is my, I don't want to say pet peeve. That is my thing that I try to make sure people really understand what they're getting themselves into. Because picking your job in the military can make or break your experience in the military. I tell people all the time, when you're joining the military, when you're thinking about going in the military, when you go to MEPS, and after you take that ASVAB, or even before you take the ASVAB, you should have at least 3, I was going to put 4 fingers up. You should have at least 3 choices of jobs, of MOSs that you're looking to get when you go to the military. I'm going to tell y'all a story about me. So, excuse me, I'm drinking this sparkling water. So, when I went to go to MEPS a long, long time ago, I had no clue. First of all, I had no clue what I was getting myself into at all, let alone what job I wanted. Like, I just showed up. Like, the recruiter was like, be here at this time. And I was like, I'm here at this time. I didn't do any research on the military at all. Let alone, y'all talk about, I'm asking people what their job gonna be. I couldn't have told you what I was thinking about doing. So when I showed up at MEPS, I studied for the test. I didn't really take it too serious, but it was like, you should, try to take it serious so you can pick a good job. So I went to MEPS, I took the test. And when I got done, I don't even know what my score was. I couldn't tell you what it was. I couldn't tell you what I was aiming for. I just know I took the test and I passed. And then it was time to pick your job. And I was like, I want something medical. I want to be a nurse. I'm laughing at myself now because y'all should have seen the way the man looked at me like, you want to be a nurse? Sweetie. Do you have a nursing degree? Nope. You don't have a nursing degree? Okay, well, you can't be a nurse. I had no clue like that you had to have certain requirements and prerequisites. I had no clue. When they told me I couldn't be a nurse, I had no backup job. Like, I was like, okay, so what am I going to do now? So he was like, I was like, I at least knew I wanted something medical. I at least knew that. Didn't know what medical job I wanted, what medical jobs the Army had, but I knew I wanted something medical. So he was like, let me look at your scores. So when he looked at my scores, he was like, oh, you can be, this is him telling me what I can be. First of all, wrong answer. So make sure y'all know what y'all want. But he was like, you can be a dental technician. You could be like a dental tech. And I was like, I don't know about that. What do dental technicians do? So he read me like all of the prerequisites and requirements and the things that dental technicians do. I was like, nah, I'm good. The only thing I could think about was people's dirty, nasty teeth and happen to be in people's mouth. And I'm talking about like, I be seeing, so all the time, pharmacy is usually next to dental in the hospital and in the clinics. And I be seeing the people that go in there, and you don't realize, like, when people join the military, people join from all walks of life, all places. I'm not trying to talk about bad about any particular group of people or place where people from, but some people keep some dirty, nasty mouths. And I was like, I don't want to be in people's mouth. Looking back, dental technician is not a bad gig. I actually wish I would have picked that job, but that's hearsay. Neither here nor there. It's already gone. So I was like, nah, I don't want to do dental. So he was like, based on your scores, you could be a 68 Quebec. We don't hardly see a lot of 68 Quebecs come through here. You should pick that job. I was like, what do they do? And he was like, a 68 Quebec is a pharmacy technician, and they just give out medicine. I was like, I could do that. Now you talking my language. So I agreed to that job, and 13 years later, I am a pharmacy technician. But the reason why I say pick 2 or 3 is because what if pharmacy wasn't available? Like, then, because actually they tried to give me medic. That's what it was. After dental technician, they tried to give me medic, and I was like, I don't want to be. He said combat medic. Did he say combat medic? He said airborne medic. I was like, I ain't jumping out of no planes. That's what it was, airborne medic. He was like, you want to go airborne? I was like, nope. I don't want to jump out no plane. So that the third option was pharmacy technician, but that was him telling me what I should be. I was dead wrong, because I should have done my own research, and I should have went in there with a list of jobs that I wanted, and I probably, would have, I don't want to say been more successful, but I would have had a more successful full career, because I would have been focused on what I wanted to do and what I needed to do to get to my ultimate goal and my ultimate job. Because my ultimate goal and ultimate job is not to become a pharmacist and not to do anything pharmacy when I leave the military. So make sure you go with options, y'all. Kathleen said, yes, I lived close to the post when I was stationed at Fort Campbell 9 years ago. It was literally outside of the post, which was like 5 minutes, maybe 10 from my unit on post. That's awesome. That is great information for people. Explorer Perry said he had a gun charge. Oh no. Weird Apple, I haven't made it that far yet. I'm taking my ASVAB Monday, but thank you for your videos and motivation. I appreciate you. So tips for you taking the ASVAB. Number 1, get sleep. Like, get some good sleep. It's already like the day before, so it's kind of too late to like go get any books. But they have a lot of ASVAB practice tests online. I tell people this all the time. Free ASVAB practice tests. Make sure you take that. Make sure you do at least 2 to 3 or 4 ASVAB practice tests. Even if you have to pay for the practice test, I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it, because you want to score as high as you can on that ASVAB. Most people ask me what my ASVAB score was. I couldn't tell you what my ASVAB score is, because after you get in the military, nobody goes by your ASVAB score. They go by what's called your GT score. GT score is made up of 4 things. 4 things on the ASVAB test. It is algebra, like word comprehension is one, but like algebra, questions and equations, like word paragraph. What is that called? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like when you read the whole paragraph, but it's like a math word question, those type of things. Word knowledge, like, so if you see a word, what does this word mean? And then paragraph comprehension. So you read the whole paragraph and they ask you one question from the paragraph, so that they know that you understand what you read. So those 4 things are what the ASVAB is, what the GT score is made up of. In order to get good jobs, you need to get a high GT score. So you want to at least shoot for a 110. A lot of people don't get a 110, but shoot for a 110, because if you get a 110 or higher, that opens you up to so many more jobs. So make sure you eat good the night before, eat a good breakfast, get sleep, shoot for those 4 sections on the ASVAB test. Don't worry about like mechanic, because they have those type of questions like mechanic and like some crazy stuff that you probably ain't even gonna know unless you go on in there to be a mechanic or 88 mic. Don't worry about like mechanic and all of that stuff. Paragraph comprehension, word knowledge, basic algebra, and then the algebra questions paragraph questions. Rebecca said he's in now. He's on year 7. That's awesome. He's a 15R attack helicopter mechanic. I'm going to attempt for intelligence. Backup plan is 15 whiskey. Okay, a drone operator. I've never heard of that, a 15 whiskey, but it sounds kind of cool. Intelligence is my husband's MOS. So for the people who don't know, I am dual military. I'm medical, and my husband is intelligence, and he loves his job. He is a 35 Lima, which is not an analyst, but I forgot the other part. It's like the other part of an analyst. Thank you is 92 Yankee, and when I went to MEPS, it was okay. Good, that's good. I'm glad you had a good experience, because I have people that have like some crazy experiences at MEPS, but mostly it's them. It's not MEPS. Like MEPS is standard. MEPS, they gonna do what they do. They do standard stuff every day. It's people that go in there and not knowing what to expect and not expecting what happens when they get to MEPS, like drug tests and physical and all of that stuff. 92 Yankee is that's supply. I wish I would have did like supply or logistics. Blackheart, hey Blackheart. Blackheart said, I'm a combat medic. Shout out to you in the combat medics, because combat medics do a lot. I just couldn't be one. I don't think that's a good job for me. That or lab. Like those who already know, that's not good jobs for me. Explorer Perry said, but the police gonna drop my charge because I'm in the Prince George County Police. Explorer. Okay. So you need to be making sure you're doing the right things next time, Explorer Perry, because I know you want to join the military. Blackheart says, you taught me a lot. Thank you. Oh, that's awesome. So I'm glad. You know what? I got a really, really sweet comment today on one of my old videos, but it's like one of the videos that I get a lot of traffic to, which is like every female in the military should know this, or this, I think it's something about every female in the military listen to this or whatever. Thank you, Weird Apple, for the I was gonna say the Cash App, the super chat. I appreciate y'all dropping money in the super chat. You definitely don't have to, but thank you. There was a time somebody gave me like $50 in the super chat. I was like, thank you. So Blackheart, you say you're a combat medic. Where are you stationed at, and how long have you been in? Kathleen said, yes, GT score, they go by. Yes, they go by GT score. It's so funny because people be like, what do I need to score on the ASVAB to get this? I'm like, I don't know, but make sure you have a good GT score. Blackheart said, hey. Explorer Perry said, I will. You better, Explorer Perry. Kathleen said, yes, her husband is intelligence. Yes, so he is intelligence. He's been intelligent since he came in, but now the funny thing is he's still doing intelligence. My nose is stuffed up. He's still doing intelligence, but he has what's called a skill identifier. So for the people who, I know medics have skill identifiers. I don't know about all of the MOSs. Thank you for the green hearts. Y'all go ahead and drop them green hearts, and make sure y'all hit the thumbs up button for your girl. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Give me a like. But so let's talk a little bit about my husband's MOS, because he doesn't really, I'm going to have to get him to do like a whole video on his MOS, because he doesn't really talk a lot about his MOS. And a lot of people, I feel like maybe they just don't know. They don't know that there are other options out there. That's why I'm so big on having a list of things that you want to do when you go to MEPS, because you don't know what you don't know. And then you don't want to get in like me and be like, well, dang, I didn't even know that was a job. I didn't even know that was the option. That sounds like something that would be perfect for me. I wish I could have done that. I wish I could have known about that so I could do that, so I can, set myself up for success in the long run. So his job is intelligence. And for the people, I always hear people say medic, 92 Yankee, 42 Alpha, and in Signal. Those are the main ones that I hear, the main MOSs. I don't usually hear people say intelligence. So intelligence, the 35 series, is so big and it encompasses a lot. But I was talking about skill identifiers. So a skill identifier is like if you have a particular MOS and then you go to school and you get more education and more training on a specific job that like is a part of your overall MOS. So for example, one of my friends is a medic, but they went to school and got more specific training on optometry. So they became an optometry tech. Now that is its own MOS. But back then, optometry techs used to be medics. So you had to be a medic first. You had to learn the basics, and then you can get a skill identifier to go into that specific category that branches off of being a medic. So he was an optometry tech. So he would, look at the eyes when you go in and you have to have your eye appointment to see if you needed glasses. He was the person that you saw. He was a medic by trade, but he didn't do any of the regular medic stuff like checking people in for their appointments and all of that stuff because he only did optometry. So usually when you have a skill identifier, you go into that specific skill set and you only do that job. You don't do your I forgot what they call it, your base job or your original job. You don't do that anymore. So like for my husband, he is intelligence, which he's a 35 Lima. I forget what 35 Lima is. Somebody look it up and let me know in the comments exactly what, the verbiage is for 35 Lima. I keep wanting to say analyst, but he is not an analyst. I know he's not an analyst, but anyway, he's a 35 Lima. Maybe he is an analyst. I think he is an analyst. Maybe that's why that keeps coming to my head. Maybe he is an analyst. But he doesn't do that job anymore. So that's why I can't really think of it because he hasn't done that job in years. So he actually works at the Pentagon and he works for the Joint Chief of Staff. So he does specific things within intelligence. I'm not going to get into it, but he doesn't do his regular normal job. So for anybody that's interested in those type of things, I would definitely say check out intelligence. It's something different from the normal job. He did used to deploy a lot. That's one of the downsides of intelligence because, of course, they need intelligence over there in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Kuwait, those type of places. Counterintelligence. That's what it is. Thank you. Counterintelligence. I couldn't think of it because he literally, he doesn't do that specific job anymore. He hasn't done it in years. I know I'm like analyst. He's not, I think that's a 35 Foxtrot or something like that is an analyst. Is very close to his job. So he does counterintelligence, and counterintelligence is like, kind of getting the information from the enemy, analyzing the information, trying to figure out, if people are giving secrets, stuff like that. So that's his job, but he does a subset of that right now for the Pentagon. So just look into, just different things. You don't have to pick the same thing. And the good thing about his job is he gets to wear, like I get to wear scrubs. Some people might feel like, oh, she get to wear scrubs every day. He wears civilian clothes. So he wears regular civilian clothes. You wouldn't even know he's active duty because he's in regular civilian clothes. Usually they get to have the full beard. I mean, he shaves, but some of them get to have the full beard because with counterintelligence, you're supposed to try to blend in with the enemy to collect information, to see if they're stealing information. So if you're walking around in uniform, they know that you're a soldier, so they're not going to slip up around you. You know what I mean? So he blends in. He wears regular civilian clothes because of his job. So depending on your job, there's all types of other jobs out there, like not MPs, but what is that job? CID. CID is like a subset kind of counterintelligence as well. So they're the people that handles like investigations and crimes and anything crazy that go on. Like you'll be surprised some of the craziness that goes on. But if a soldier gets arrested, they're the ones that go in and investigate what's going on. So they usually wear civilian clothes because they're trying to blend in and get information. Blackheart said, I'm in the United Kingdom. I'm 16. Okay. I got people all the way from the UK in here. Rebecca said, I definitely watch a video with his stuff about intelligence. Intelligence is one that any recruiters or just people I've talked to go, they do stuff and they have no real information. Yes, because it's like, what's the word? Like, you can't put all the information out there because It's intelligence. It's collecting information, and you don't want other people that don't need to know the information. But I'll definitely have him do a video on just being a 35 Lima in general. He can't really do a video particularly on his job that he does now, but he can do a job. He can do a video on 35 Lima, because I had a few people ask me about, you know, just intelligence in general. That's a great question. DM Gamble said counterintelligence. Google says 35 Lingus counterintelligence. Black Heart says that's cool. DM Gamble says secret squirrel stuff. Yes, that's exactly what it is. The secret squirrel stuff. He and the funny thing is, he tried to get me to reclass. So it's called reclassing. When you change your job, you can change your job. I did a whole video on it. It's a lot that goes into it. It's not as easy as it sounds, but he tried to get me to reclass into 35 Lima counterintelligence when we first met, and I was like, no. Not because I didn't want to do it, but because I feel like some jobs, you have to have the right personality for some jobs. And I don't have the personality for that. Like, I'm not serious. I'm not like a secret squirrel. I'm not like one of those people that be like I just wouldn't care enough. It sounds bad, but like they be like really investigating stuff, like when people be, you know, going on websites and stuff that they don't supposed to be on. Like, I'd be like, just let the people on the website. Like, I don't have time for all of that. So I don't think my personality would align with counterintelligence. Just like a medic. That's why I said I couldn't be a medic, because that's like almost like being a doctor, depending on where you station at. And the things that you do, like the combat medics, when they deploy, some of them like actually save lives. Like, that's their job, of course. But like it's like one of those things, like, I don't think that I would ever do it until I'm in a situation when I have to do it. I don't want to be in that situation. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm at war and bullets is going off and like we really like in war, I'ma just be in that fight or flight mode. I'ma do what I gotta do, but I don't want that to be my everyday job. Like, I can't live my life like that. I ain't built for that. So that's why I was like, that's not a good job for me. That, and like I said, lab tech, that's 68 kilo. 68 kilo is a lab technician, which that's something that I didn't even know existed before I joined the military. I definitely wouldn't have signed up for that. I'm glad he didn't even offer me that, because I don't want to draw nobody's blood, especially like babies and old people. No, I ain't built for that one either. So I definitely feel like you have to have the personality for your job in order to excel and grow in it. So for me, I like talking to people. I'm bubbly. So I have the perfect job because I work in customer service. I service people at the window every single day when they're picking up their prescriptions. And we get a lot of retirees, a lot of older people, a lot of dependents and family members that like to just come and talk at the window. And I have no problem chatting with people at the window, holding a conversation, customer service. I love the customer service part of it, but everybody is not built to talk to people. Everybody's not a outgoing, outspoken person. Some people don't like to talk. You know what I mean? Some people just aren't customer service oriented people. So my particular job might not be a good job for them. They might just be very good at admin, but not, you know, talking to people. So I challenge you all to really take a look at all of the jobs that the military has to offer before you go to MEPS, and make you a list of at least 3, just in case. Yes, Kathleen said, let's drop them green hearts and Christmas trees. This is a super duper cool live that we in, because y'all actually asking me questions. This is what I wanted. Wow, I love your husband already. I'm going to have him come on. He's not here right now, but I'm going to have him come on and chat with me on one of these lives. Let me know if y'all want him to come on one of these lives. He usually does like my Saturday lives when I have it set up with a panel of people, but I'm going to have him come on and talk about his job maybe next week or something. Kathleen said, oh, wow, that's why a lot of the times he's in civilian clothes on your video. Yes, he doesn't wear his uniform. Like, I don't have a lot of pictures of us together in uniform. Almost like Rangers and Special Forces. Yes, he actually deployed with the Special Forces before. This was before we met. Rebecca said, fun fact, Hub's brother is a combat medic. His option of it changes day to day. Yeah, you got to be built to be a combat medic. Like, some of them just chill and don't do nothing. So actually, the funny part is, like, when I had my son last year, I had my son at the hospital where I work, and the people, they're soldiers that work in the labor and delivery ward, and they're medics, they're combat medics. But like I was telling you, they do a certain subcategory of their job. So they're not necessarily checking you in for your appointment and taking your blood pressure, you know, when you come to your routine appointment. They're in there delivering the babies with the doctors. That would be such a cool job, unless, you know, you might get that occasional where a baby passes away. I wouldn't be able to deal with that. Again, that's why I said I'm not built for that job. But you get a lot of experience in other areas of your job. Instead of saving people that are, you know, out on the battlefield dying, you're bringing life into the world. So I can see why people have varying opinions of a combat medic, because it literally changes depending on where you're stationed. Because that soldier was in labor and delivery, but she said that they moved them around. So it is good because you don't get stuck in one place, or one place might be too much for you. So then I saw her a few weeks ago, and she was in pulmonary. Pulmonary is where you do the breathing. Pulmonary is bumping and jumping right now with COVID, because pulmonary and respiratory, those areas are what's affecting people when they get COVID-19. So of course, they're probably shifting a lot of the medics into the pulmonary and respiratory sections because they're needed there. And that could be like, you know, seeing that and doing that every day could take a toll on somebody too, especially with what's going on right now in COVID. So this is why I say, I go back to, I'm not built to be a medic, because I wouldn't be able to handle all of that. But jumping around from labor and delivery, where you bring a life, going over to respiratory, where you see people dying from COVID-19, to getting deployed and you seeing people dying, or you saving people's lives out on the battlefield, could be shifty for somebody that is in that MOS. So I definitely can believe it. Blackheart said, you need to try 68 whiskey. It's a fun life. No, that's what I just said. 68 whiskey is a combat medic, and that's not something that I think is for me. Blackheart said, yes, let him come. So I'm going to ask him to come on. I'm sure he'll do it. He's so sweet. He do whatever I ask him. I'll be like, can you do this? He'll be like, yeah, I do it. Hubby is sweet, y'all. So I'm going to have him come on next week. I also, speaking of like shifting jobs and taking on a lot mentally in your job, my bestest friend, she actually called me earlier today. Hadn't talked to her in a while. She is a X-ray, a 68 X-ray. So I want y'all, the first person to guess who a 68 X-ray is, put it down in the comment section. And I will post you on my Instagram, all over my Instagram. I know I was supposed to do that. Let me take a picture. I was supposed to do that yesterday. 68 X-ray. No, it's not an X-ray tech. What is a 68 X-ray in the Army? It's not an X-ray tech. X-ray tech is 68 papa. I got friends that are 68 papas. But the first person who could tell me what a 68 X-ray is in the Army. Yes, behavioral health. Rebecca got it right. So I'm gonna shout. Rebecca, put your Instagram. If you have Instagram, put your Instagram handle in the comments so I could screenshot it, and I'm gonna shout you out. And I'm gonna shout you out in tomorrow's live as well. So my best friend is a 68 X-ray, which is a behavior health technician. So basically, like people that are, I get a lot of people, I want to be a psychiatrist, a psychologist when I join the military. What's the best job for me? I always tell them 68 X-ray. So she was getting to a point though of where it was a lot for her, like mentally it was a lot for her. And you have to be the kind of person, if you're going to take on a job like that, like 68 X-ray, MP, and CID, I would say you have to develop a hardened shell, because you see stuff that the normal everyday person don't see, and you can like harbor that stuff and bring it with you. And that's what was happening to her. So just think, 68 X-rays, those are the people that let me put you up here, Rebecca. 68 x-rays, those are the people that, number one, are very busy with people with PTSD. You know, in the military, a lot of people develop PTSD. Excuse me. A lot of people develop PTSD from things that they see and go through in war. I mean, I feel like war now has gotten better. Like when I see people on live in Iraq doing like the cha-cha slide, they over there having a good time. I had a friend that deployed to Kuwait for a year, and she was a Zumba instructor over there. So it's not all bad, but depending on where you are, what you see and what you do, some of it can be really, really demanding mentally. So for her, she didn't really deal with the people with, she didn't see people that had PTSD. That wasn't her subset of her MOS. What she dealt with was what's called family advocacy, family advocacy. I can't say it. So she dealt with the families of soldiers that were going through stuff, and that's almost even harder than dealing with the actual soldier itself, because the actual soldier, you know, they kind of still have to do what the military tell them to do, come to work, go to these classes, go to these courses, you know, they kind of have a regimen. You dealing with kids that are affected by what their parents are doing. You got some sick people, even in the military. The military has some bad people in it too. People that's molesting their own kids, people that's harming their kids, people that's not watching their kids, and the kids are, you know, just left alone, doing whatever. People that's on drugs in the military. And so dealing with the family members was hard for her. And I remember a lot of times she would tell me that, you know, it would give her nightmares sometimes. There was this one case when we was in Japan. I was in Japan like not 13 years ago. Well, I guess he had like 12, 13 years ago, we were in Japan. And there was this one child that the actual daycare on post reported to the Family Advocacy Center because the parents weren't changing the kids' clothes. So the child care worker, the daycare worker, noticed that the child had the same clothes on for like 3 days in a row. So, of course, some stuff like that, that's like neglect. They have to report that stuff. They report it to her. She's who they report it to. And then she, you know, gives the information to CID. CID does the investigation, but they include, of course, behavioral health, because you don't know what's going on with this child mentally. So they need to see a specialist. So come to find out, the parents were just like not on drugs, but just not taking care of the kid, neglecting the kid. And the kid had other siblings. And so if you see that stuff day in and day out, that was a mild case. Okay, the kid wasn't getting their clothes changed. What about the kids that's getting molested? What about the kids that's malnourished because their parents don't feed them? What about dealing with the actual people that's like doing bad stuff to other soldiers and other kids? Like stuff like that could take a toll on you. And actually, one of her duty stations before the one she's at now, she worked at the prison. So for the people who don't know, the military has a prison. Yes, it has a prison. Blackheart says, sad fact, I had mental illness at age 11 and I'm from Jamaica. I love the Army, but my mom told me I couldn't because they couldn't take me. Well, I made it, Mom. Yeah, like the military will take you. The military, depending, I'm not going to say for everybody, but just because you have some mental illness when you join doesn't mean automatically that it's a determining factor that you can't join the military. Ashton, I saw your question. I'm going to get to it in a minute. Somebody else had a question about 3 MOSs. I'm going to get to it, but let me just finish my point. So she actually worked at the military prison. It's called Fort Leavenworth. And, you know, prisoners, they say, okay, you need this mental help. You need to go speak to this counselor every day or every other day. And she was some of the people she was the people that they saw. And so I said, that's scary. Like when she told me she was getting stationed at Fort Leavenworth, I was like, so you gonna work with the prisoners? Like she actually worked in the prison and she did counseling sessions and like circle time, you know, like on the movie Circle Time with the convicts. And some of these people was murderers. Like that's why I tell y'all, it's bad. Sometimes it's bad people in the military. Like the whole Vanessa Guillen case, like stuff like that. Like she actually worked with people that was murderers, like people that had killed people in the military or killed people outside of the military, people that had raped their own kids, molested their own kids. Those people go to jail. They go to the military jail, and she was their counselor. So just imagine like the stories you hear when you're doing circle time with these people, and then you go home at the end of the day and you hold that stuff in, and it's weighing on you day after day after day. If you're not yourself mentally tough, it could be a lot for you. So I know I went way out of context, but when y'all picking your jobs, make sure that's really what you want. Do your research on it. So let me answer Ashton's question. Ashton said, do you need to have 3 MOSs picked before you go to MEPS? There's one I want, and I'm not really looking to do another. I don't know if you're a sir or a ma'am, but if you have not gotten anything from this live, yes, you need to have 3 MOSs picked. I don't care if you only have one that you're looking for. You need to have a backup and then a backup to a backup. And let me explain why. Number one, you have to score high enough for the job that you want. That's number one. If you don't score high enough, if you have a bad day, if you forget to check one box and you miss it by one and you don't get the job, you don't score high enough for the job that you want, then now you stuck. That's one scenario. Let's say you score high enough for the job you want. Like you studied your butt off and you got it. You got a 115 for your GT score, but that job is not open. Now what? Because a lot of times jobs aren't always open. So a job opens up depending on the need of the Army. If the Army says we need 10,000 soldiers to, go through MEPS this year and join the military, and it's December. So I'm sure they probably met their quota. If they say they need 10,000 people in 2020 to join the military, and out of those 10,000 people, we only need 3,068 Quebecs, which is my job, pharmacy technician. 68 Quebecs then filled up in September. It's December. You get to MEPS, you score high enough to be a 68 Quebec, but that job is not open. Like when you go there and you sit down with the people and you pick your jobs, they're going to give you a list of all the jobs that are available the day you come. You might come 2 weeks later and it might be open, but the day you come, it might be closed. There's MEPS all over the United States. So everybody's at MEPS that day. People in California done already took all the Quebec spots. The people in New York done already took all the Quebec spots that's open that day. So now what? Number 3 scenario is if you medically don't qualify for a job. So some jobs you have to medically qualify for. Say you want to be a 68 whiskey. What's the one that I said at the beginning? The airborne. But you colorblind, because they'll let you in colorblind, but you can't be airborne. I'm just making this up. I don't know if you could be airborne or colorblind, but there's some jobs you can't do colorblind. You can't have that job because you're colorblind, or you can't have that job because you may be 2 inches too short, something like that. Something crazy. So just have a backup to the backup. The more likely option is going to be either you don't qualify for it, like you don't score high enough for it, or it's not available. I get a lot of people that say, I went and my recruiter told me this wasn't available. Are they lying to me? I'm like, no, they're probably not lying. It's probably not available. The military goes by quota. And once they meet their quota, all the people that come in after that is like extra. So if you really want to join, this is what we got for you. But the job you wanted, we ain't got it today. Sorry, you got to come back. And there's people that actually come back and they wait like 3-4 months for that specific job. That's a whole nother video. But if it's something you really, really want and it's not open at that time, you can try to like come back for when it's open. But the thing is, they don't really know when it's going to open up. It's not like it's going to open on June 1st. It's just they go in the system that day and it's open. Blackheart said that's sad. What's sad? Sadia Anor is giving green hearts. Thank you. Kathleen said, oh, wow. And then Where Apple said, what about being a pilot? Any thoughts? So when it comes to picking a particular job, and my thoughts on picking a particular job or particular branch, this goes for, should I pick Army, Navy, Air Force, or should I pick pilot, combat medic, airborne medic? I can't tell you what's the best option for you. If you said you wanted to fly planes and be a pilot from the age 2, as long as you can remember, and that day you go to MEPS and it's open, that's the job for you. Me personally, I don't want to do it. So it wouldn't be the job for me. So I can't really tell you, you know, any thoughts on it. What about it? I really don't know a lot about it, because usually those type of jobs are jobs for like officers and more senior people. I don't see a lot of lower enlisted being a pilot. I'm not saying you can't do it. Maybe in the Air Force you can, but I just don't. I've never heard of anybody. Like, I've never known anybody. I shouldn't say heard of anybody. I've never known of anybody personally that has had that job, so I can't speak to it. But if you're asking me, like, in general, like, what's my thoughts on you picking that job, whatever is the best job for you, like, whatever is something that you want, that you could see yourself doing, that you can do day in and day out and never get tired of it, is the best job for you. And that's how I feel about when it comes to picking the particular branches, because I have people say, well, should I go Army? Should I go Air Force? Should I go Marines? You need to do your own research on what particular branch is best for you, because each branch is different. Each branch has its own pros and cons. Each branch has its own pros and cons. So, like, for me, for example, I knew I wanted to go Army, not because I like green or I didn't want to be a Navy, but because I wanted to pick my job. And some of the other branches, like Navy, you don't really get to pick your job. And if I'm signing up and giving my life, I want to do what I want to do. Sadia said, true. I had to wait 48 hours before I had 92 Yankee to join, and I think it was worth the wait. I had one for petroleum, probably petroleum fueler, and something I refused. Yes, and that's the other thing. I'm glad you brought that up. You don't have to pick that job. Don't let them do. Look at me. If y'all don't take nothing else, don't let them pressure you into a job. If I would have took that dental job, now looking back, I wish I would have. But if I would have took that dental job because the man was like, you really should take this job and it ain't nothing else available, I'd have been like, you know what, I'll come back. Just like Sadia said, I waited 48 hours. They came back for the job they wanted. Don't let them corner you into a job that you don't want, because you the one. You the one gonna have to come to work every day and do what that job says you have to do. So they said they had that option was like petroleum. I think it's like petroleum fueler or something like that. Something Foxtrot is like petroleum refueler. I don't want to be no gas fueler. What the hell do I look like pumping gas every day? No, like that's not that. I'm not built for that. And I'm not gonna let anybody talk me into doing that job. So good for you. Rebecca said, great example of scoring high but not medically qualifying is lots of aviation jobs that require flight physics. See, those guys who don't pass need a backup. So that right there, like there's some specific jobs that you have to qualify for. Even if you qualify as far as the ASVAB, there's some things that you just have to physically qualify for. And it may or may not be what you have that particular day. Desire said, is female engagement team a fun job? I have no clue what that is, Desire. Female engagement? What is that? I don't know. I'm sorry. Ashton says, Sadia, did your recruiter just call you when it opened up or what? I'm supposed to go to MEPS Thursday and I'm hoping for 15 Charlie. 15 Charlie, I want to say, is probably going to most likely be open because that's the job they're trying to get people. I think 15 Charlie is like the, let me know, Sadia, what that is. But I think 15 Charlie is the one that they asking everybody to do. It's like has something to do with computer, like cyber intelligence or something like that. Because my husband was talking about that. I mean, it may be open, but I still don't know what the qualifications are for it. Thank you, Danique, for the green hearts. Ashton, my recruiter, called me 2 days later and said there was an opening for 92 Yankee and he was locking it up for me, but was leaving in 10 days, which was a rush. And that's the other thing. Some jobs you have to leave. Like if they say this job leaves tomorrow, you have to leave when it is because it goes by your basic training goes by your class date. So that's a whole nother video. We could talk about that, but some of them, you know, you may have to leave sooner than later. Explorer said Army mental health. Yes, that was 68 X-ray. Denise, yes, I'm in. Done with all training in my first duty station at Fort Bliss. Good luck to you at Fort Bliss. I'm going to San Antonio, my next duty station. $15, Charlie. Blackheart said, my uncle is a drill sergeant. I wanted to try that, but it didn't work. So for drill sergeant, and I think you said you were from the UK, I'm not sure, but you can't, like, drill sergeant is not an MOS. You can't, like, choose to come in as a drill sergeant. So actually I am trying to be a drill sergeant, but I don't want to be, but I am. That's a whole nother video if y'all want me to do. It's called broadening assignments. I should do a video on broadening assignments, because people, that's the type of stuff y'all need to know. Not what should I wear, what should I pack for basic training. Broadening assignments. I'm gonna do a whole video on broadening assignments. But to sum it up, you can't choose drill sergeant when you come in. Look at y'all dropping questions and answers and green hearts and everything tonight. Where Apple said, thank you. 15 Charlie is something related to aviation. Oh, okay. So yes, if it's aviation, somebody put it up in the comments before. You definitely want to have a backup, because if you have to physically qualify for aviation, aside from scoring high enough for it. It's always good to just have a backup just in case. Now, what you can do is, like the other person said, maybe wait for the job if it's not available. But if you just literally don't qualify for it, there's no such thing as waiting for it. You either have to pick something else or not join at all. So I would definitely look into a backup, or maybe something that's like a subset of aviation where you can use it as a stepping stone to get to where you want. So Blackheart said he's in the U.S. So no, I meant, were you in the U.S.? But drill sergeant, yes. Drill sergeant is such a cool job. Like, it's not cool when you in basic training for the trainee, but after you get out of basic training. So even for me, like, after I get out of basic training, now that I'm out of basic training and I see drill sergeant still like in the PX, I'll be like, make sure I'm doing the right thing. Don't walk on the grass. Like, they still have that what's the word? That hold on you. I think drill sergeants will always have that hold on people, unless you like just know one personally or you become one. DM Gamble said, yes, do a video on broadening assignments in addition to the new Army career tracker where you could pick where you are stationed at. Lord Jesus, I was just talking about this today with my friend. That's the 68 X-ray. That is the marketplace thing. Oh my God, I'm not mentally ready for that. But you know what? I should do a whole video on that. But that's the one I'm gonna have my husband do a video on, because he knows all about the Army career tracker and the marketplace and picking your duty station. I'm just old Army, y'all. I'm just used to the old Army where they tell you where you gonna go. I don't like this picking your whole thing, because it's not as easy as it sounds. Like, where you pick your duty station, like I go in there and I just pick that I want to go to Hawaii. No, that's not how it works. It's way more strings attached, and it's not that easy. They make it sound good, but it's really not, and it complicates it even more if you're dual military like me in my situation. So I'm not looking forward to it, but I will definitely do a video on it, because that's a very, very good topic. Actually, let me write that down. Army career tracker and broadening assignments, because I think broadening assignments is stuff that people need to know, that people don't, like, if you don't know, you don't know. So people don't even know that it's a thing, and so they get 5-7 years into their military, and then they like, dang, I wish I would have known about this after my first duty station, or before I had a wife and kids, or whatever the case may be. So, and I talked to my BROADE. Yeah, I talked to my soldiers about it now. Like, all my soldiers that are fresh off of basic training at their first duty station, look into getting a broadening assignment next after your first duty station. Rebecca said 15 Charlie is great Eagles, I think, but you have to go through the trainer for drones and then you pick your drone type. To my knowledge, you don't go straight into it. I know way too much about aviation. I know nothing about aviation, so I'm glad you were able to answer that question. Yep, so they answered it for it just split up 15 whiskey in October, so I'm hoping it's in high demand. Hope so. I hope you get it. I took birth control, but do you have to? No. Like, do you have to take birth control? Is that what you're asking me? You don't have to take birth control. You don't have to take nothing. Sorry, y'all. Gamble said yes. I'm definitely gonna do one. Thank you for joining the live, DM Gamble. Like the guy that killed my 1-year-old nephew. I'm not sure, Spore Perry. Someone said, oh, my condolences. Sorry for your loss. Sorry for your loss. Okay, y'all. So we at an hour. Look at that. And to think, I wasn't even going to do this live tonight. Like, I really debated doing the live. But I appreciate y'all coming on here. Y'all had some good questions. I hope I answered everybody's question. Let me know if y'all want me to come on tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I'll talk about broadening assignments. So that's a very, very good discussion. Let me know. If y'all have any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, what you got, Desire? What's up? I want some people that requested to be in the live. Y'all let me know if y'all want to request to be in the live. I'm gonna have to probably go live on Instagram because Instagram is easy for people to join your live. I mean, you could do it over here too. Engagement team. I still don't know what that is. It sounds like some super secret squirrel stuff. Sadia said tomorrow. Yes, I will. I'll come back tomorrow. I was debating if I wanted to come on because I didn't really have anybody on yesterday. But Desire being every single live, and then Rebecca still didn't put her Instagram handle up here. Please put your Instagram handle, Rebecca, so I can shout you out tomorrow, and I can shout you out on my social media if you're still in here. And then I forgot who the first person was in here yesterday because I asked for people to show up early yesterday. I want to say Starbucks Lover because Starbucks Lover was in here early today. Oh, Rebecca said they don't use it. So who was there was a second person that was right under Rebecca that guessed the answer. That was Ashton. So whoever, either Rebecca or Ashton, if y'all have Instagram handle, let me know. Kendra Wilbur, I'm going to tell my husband to watch to learn about broadening assignments. It's just all pics of my dogs. That's cool. I appreciate y'all joining this live and being in this live. I do have a series starting up for business owners. If anybody is a small business owner or looking to start a business, even if you're not an owner yet, make sure you go ahead and check out that series. It's going to drop tomorrow. It's called Vlogmas. But other than that, I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow. I'm gonna go ahead and get off here because I'm gonna record some videos after this, so y'all gonna see some videos with this on. But I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.